Welcome back to the channel Liberty Coin Value. Today's exciting deep dive into the world of numismatics, where we uncover the fascinating history, hidden secrets, and staggering value of one of the most mysterious and sought-after coins in United States history, the 1945 wheat penny, a humble 1-cent coin that in rare instances has been claimed to be worth as much as $254 million. A figure that seems unbelievable at first glance but makes sense once we begin to peel back the layers of its history, its errors, its variations, and the countless mistakes and mint mark anomalies that have made it one of the most talked about coins among collectors, investors, and historians alike. So sit back and prepare to learn everything about this tiny copper piece that carries with it not just monetary value but also a deep connection to American history during the final days of World War II and the shifting economic landscape of the mid-20th century. Because the 1945 wheat penny, while just another year in the long run of Lincoln cents featuring the famous wheat ears reverse that had been in production since 1909, stands out as a numismatic treasure chest of mysteries, with so many known varieties, errors, and striking anomalies that even seasoned collectors sometimes underestimate its true potential. And when we talk about a coin being valued at $254 million, we are not merely referring to an average circulation piece but instead to a perfect storm of rarity, condition, error, provenance, and collector demand all converging into one legendary numismatic specimen. But to understand why such astronomical valuations can even be discussed, we must first go back to 1945, a year of great significance in world history, as it marked the end of World War II, a time when American mints were operating at full capacity, striking billions of coins to meet the demands of a war-torn economy and a rapidly expanding domestic market, with copper being a crucial wartime material, famously leading to the steel cents of 1943, yet by 1945 the mint had returned to using primarily copper alloy for the Lincoln cents, though fluctuations in composition and leftover planchets from earlier years sometimes found their way into the presses, creating off-metal errors that today command staggering prices. And it is these anomalies that form the foundation for why some 1945 wheat pennies are worth far beyond their humble face value. Because imagine holding a coin that appears to be just another brown cent in your pocket but upon closer inspection turns out to be struck on a silver dime planchet, or on a leftover steel planchet from 1943, or perhaps with a double die obverse that gives Lincoln's profile a ghostly doubled appearance, or even a rare repunched mint mark where the D or S mint mark was accidentally stamped twice by the engraver's hand. Each of these varieties can transform a 1-cent piece into a treasure worth thousands, tens of thousands, or even millions. And when you combine those possibilities with the ultra-high-grade specimens that have survived in near-flawless condition, preserved by chance in rolls or mint sets, the prices realized at auction can defy belief, with certain collectors willing to pay virtually any price to secure a unique piece. And that is where the mythos of the $254 million valuation comes in. A figure often whispered about in numismatic circles as the ultimate theoretical price for a one-of-a-kind, error-laden, flawless 1945 wheat penny, possibly struck in a wrong metal, with a dramatic double die, perfectly preserved, and carrying a provenance that links it back to a famous collector or historical figure, because in the world of rare coins, provenance can be just as powerful as condition. With coins owned by famous collectors like Louis Elias Berg or King Farouk of Egypt fetching record sums simply because of their ownership history. And so when we think about the 1945 wheat penny, we must realize that it is not just the year that matters but also the mint mark, with 3 major producing mints in that year: Philadelphia, which struck coins without a mint mark; Denver, marked with a small d beneath the date; and San Francisco, marked with an S, and within each mint's output there exist countless varieties of die errors, planchet anomalies, striking issues, and mint mark peculiarities, all of which fuel collector excitement. So let us explore the kinds of errors that make the 1945 wheat penny legendary, starting with double dies, where the hubbing process of the dies resulted in a misalignment, causing noticeable doubling on the date, the motto, "In God We Trust," or Lincoln's profile, with some dramatic enough to be seen without magnification, and these double die varieties are among the most prized by collectors, often fetching prices in the tens of thousands. Then there are off-metal strikes, a category of error where the wrong planchet was fed into the press, resulting in a cent struck on dime, nickel, or even foreign coin planchets, and examples of 1945 cents struck on silver dime planchets are especially prized, with values soaring astronomically due to their rarity, Then we must also consider clipped planchets, where the blank metal disc used to strike the coin was improperly cut, resulting in crescent-shaped missing portions of the coin. And such errors are highly collectible in high grades, as well as broad strikes and off-center strikes, where the coin was not properly seated in the collar during striking, producing dramatic misalignments that are visually striking and highly desirable. And of course we cannot forget the category of repunched mint marks, a common error in the early to mid-20th century where mint marks were applied by hand to working dies, leading to cases where the punch slipped or was reapplied, creating doubled or even tripled mint marks that can be seen with a loop. And the 1945D and 1945S cents have numerous RPM varieties cataloged, many of which command premiums among specialists. And while each of these errors on their own might only bring in hundreds or thousands depending on grade, the rare possibility of multiple errors occurring on the same coin, such as a doubled die with an off-center strike struck on the wrong planchet with a repunched mint mark, creates a numismatic unicorn that could in theory be valued in the hundreds of millions, especially when combined with gem-level preservation and historical significance, because rarity in numismatics is not just about how many were struck but how many survived. And while the 1945 wheat penny had a massive mintage, the survival of flawless specimens is far lower than one might think, as most entered circulation and endured decades of wear, corrosion, and damage, making mint-state survivors, especially in grades like MS-67 and higher, incredibly scarce. And with modern third-party grading services like PCGS and NGCs certifying coins and providing population reports, we can see just how few examples exist in top grades, which drives up demand and price. And now imagine a top-graded 1945 penny that also has a dramatic and unique error. It would become the centerpiece of any world-class collection, leading to intense bidding wars at auction, which is how records are set and why we can realistically talk about valuations in the hundreds of millions. Because numismatics is not just about intrinsic value or metal content, it is about rarity, story, history, and collector passion. And the story of the 1945 wheat penny is intertwined with the broader narrative of America in 1945, a nation emerging victorious from war, transitioning its economy to peacetime, minting coins that would circulate through the pockets of millions of returning soldiers and civilians alike, coins that bore silent witness to a generation rebuilding their lives. And that cultural resonance adds to the aura of the coin, making it more than just metal but a historical artifact. And so when you hear that a single penny could be worth $254 million, it is not mere hype, it is a reflection of the perfect convergence of factors: rarity of error, flawless condition, provenance, and historical importance. And while not every 1945 wheat penny will make you a millionaire, the possibility that one could is what fuels the treasure-hunting spirit of coin collectors around the world, encouraging people to check their change, search through old rolls, and inspect inherited collections with fresh eyes, because even a common-looking penny can sometimes reveal extraordinary secrets. And in the case of the 1945 wheat penny, those secrets might just unlock life-changing value. So as we close our exploration of this legendary coin, remember that numismatics is not just about money, it is about history, mystery, and the thrill of discovery. And the 1945 wheat penny stands as one of the finest examples of how a tiny piece of copper can carry within it a story worth hundreds of millions, a story that continues to fascinate and inspire collectors to this day, making the search for that elusive perfect era coin more thrilling than ever. And it is this passion, this chase, and this sense of history that ensures the legend of the 1945 wheat penny will never fade but will instead continue to capture imaginations for generations to come.